Hi guys, welcome to the Concrete Construction channel, and today's video we're going to just briefly discuss bidding and estimating 101. So we're going to discuss how customers can manipulate contractors into working for the wrong prices. And this happens a lot, tends to be with inexperienced guys, and we're going to go over how to catch it and what to do when it happens to you. So first, I would like to say, when you go to estimate a job, it's very important to understand your overhead costs. So I'm just going to briefly touch on this because this will be a subject for a video upcoming in the future. Understanding fixed costs versus variable costs. So you have to figure out how much everything is. Your insurance, your overhead, your rental of a yard, supplies that you need for the project, etc. So that's what, and labor, of course, that's the most important. So that's the first thing. So the second thing is, a customer calls you, you go out to their site to take a look at what they need. And once you go over everything, you talk to them about it, go over different ideas. Some jobs you may spend 5 minutes, some jobs you may spend over an hour. And that's part of the game, part of business. There's no way around that. And the first thing is, what a customer will say when you give them the proposal is, well, that's too expensive. Who's to really say? I have never really truly taken my competitors' advice on pricing. And the reason is, they may be shooting you numbers that are inaccurate to throw you off, so they can win projects and you lose out. So I never really was one to listen to my competitors on what the numbers were. I always tried to assess my own pricing and what I felt it was worth. And while I did listen to them to a point just to get a ballpark, you need to really figure it out for yourself. Okay? You shouldn't really be taking other people's advice when it comes to that, just because they may be being dishonest with you. Now, the other thing that I want to touch on with the customers is, and this happens a lot, a customer will call you out to their project and they say, well, this is what I want done. Some people you could go through it over the phone and say, listen, what's your budget? Let's just say they need 2,000 square feet of concrete done and their budget is $2,000. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible. So sometimes you could weed people out that way. You know, I will sometimes ask, what's roughly your budget? And if they don't even want to tell you, well, then maybe they're not even serious about it. So customers will call you, you go down to the site, and I've done this before. I go to the site, I issue them the price, and they say, well, I really want to go with you, but your price is a little high. Well, what determines high? Well, this other guy is going to charge me this amount of money. And there was this one project in particular that sticks out in my mind. A person wanted to do a driveway, and they said, well, this other guy said he could do it for $2,000. And I was like, the cost of the material alone would be around $2,000. I said, well, listen, you got that guy, you got that price. I said, sign a contract, get it done, because you'll never see a price like that again. And it turns out that that particular customer did go with somebody else, and they had poured this much concrete in their driveway. Obviously, it didn't hold up more than a month. And I had to go back there, and we did it, and we ripped it out, and the whole rigmarole. And this customer ended up paying twice. I had another customer that called me out to a job, showed me a project, and we spent like 2 hours there. I spent a lot of time, and went over everything. They told me their budget was $12,000. The job came out to be $16,500. I said, $16,500, that's the price. He said, well, someone else agreed to go there for like $12,000 or whatever it was. I passed by the project. It's now done, right? Or it's in process. It's 3/4 of the way done. They did absolutely nothing of what we were supposed to do. They were supposed to throw down 2 staircases and rebuild them. These guys didn't do it. They just refaced it with stucco. We were doing stone. They just did stucco. They were supposed to do the driveway, widen it by 2 feet. They redid it, the existing dimensions. They were supposed to redo an apron. They left the existing. They're comparing apples to oranges. So they went with this other guy, gave them a lot less, but charged them a pretty exorbitant amount of money. So for the work that I saw done, we probably could have brought the job in for possibly under $10,000 for what they had wanted. But he had said, and he was bragging to me about it later on. I mean, because I saw the guy in the deli, and he was, oh yeah, they brought it in for $12,000. And I said, okay, well, good for them. He didn't get nearly the amount of work done that he deserved. People do that all the time. Happens all the time. Don't let it frustrate you. It happens. And then you'll always have the customer that tells you, well, this guy can do it for less. Don't fall into those traps. If they can get it done for less, I would say usually stick to your guns. Because if you go less and you know what your operating costs are, chances are you're not going to make any money. And the other guy, let's just say he's in a similar boat to you and he's just misestimating, well, he's going to walk away with no money. So why the hell even bother at that point? So try to stick to your guns. Customers will do this to you all the time. Some people will come back to you and use you anyway. Some people won't. You can't let it bother you. I had another project a guy had showed me. Driveway, walkway. Had to do some steps down to the backyard. Gave him a quote. Never heard from him again. I said, well, whatever. About 6-8 months later, calls me back. Says, I need you to come back and re-estimate the job. I said, Jesus, again? Go back. I see it's done. I see white. I see, the concrete was white. It looked new. I said, gee, it's all done. The hell am I doing here? You're wasting my time. The atrocious job that this guy had got for his bargain was, oh my God. The driveway wasn't even broomed. Wasn't bull floated. They basically screeded it, threw a trowel on top of it, and left. They did worse than a basement floor would be for tile. I've never seen flat work for outside done this horrifically. And the guy says, just charge me what you got to charge. I need this out of here. I need a real job done. I was like, Jesus. I couldn't even believe it. I felt bad for the guy, but hey, listen, business is business. And I ended up going to hit it with the jackhammer on the Bobcat, and some spots I just poked right through the driveway. It was this thick. Some spots I couldn't even chop through because they were 12 inches, 14 inches thick. I was like, what the hell did these guys do? They just ripped out everything and threw concrete down on top. I swear, I have never seen anything done so atrociously in my life, and I have yet to see it since, and this is 10 some odd years ago. And, it's out there. It's going to happen to you, and, you got to get over that. Another thing, and I would say this more with repeat customers, maybe general contractors, try to stay off of Facebook with them. Try not to get too personal with people. This is business. It's nothing personal. Keep it professional. And this is something I spoke about with the employees as well in a previous video, laying off employees. Try to always keep it professional. You don't need their Facebook. They don't need yours. They don't need to assess your personal life. You really don't need to assess their personal life. It's business. It's contracts. It's money. That's it. And when it comes to that, don't mess around. Because in an instant, someone who claims to be your friend will turn around the next day and grab somebody else off the corner. Just keep it professional. And when they cry, can't you do any better? Can't you do this? We're friends. Oh my God, you get that all the time. You're not my friend. You're a client. While I appreciate you and respect you for being a client, of course, we're not friends. There are no discounts. You're doing a job to make a profit. I'm doing a job to make a profit. And leave it at that. That's all you need. People will constantly try to manipulate you for that. Constantly. And that's not the way it is. And if they could get somebody cheaper, they might. But you got to keep it professional, keep your name clean. That's what you want to do. If you have an issue on a job, take care of it. Even if it costs you money in the short run. The long run, it'll be much more beneficial to you that you took care of the mistake rather than ran away from it. That's the last thing that you want to do. If you open up a job and you misestimated it, just finish the job and do it the right way. Learn from that mistake, you take it on the chin, move on. Don't leave a job partially done and abandon a project. First of all, the legal ramifications could be devastating. The other problem that it becomes is your name will become trash. In this day and age of the internet, people, if you burn them and they know how to leave reviews and how to make it public, and they do it, it will do so much damage to your name, it'll be beyond recognition. So you know what? It's not worth it. Just do it. I've done it. I misestimated a job one time. Jesus, it sucked. I got into the project halfway through, and I was basically out of money for that project. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I made such a gigantic mistake. Took it on the chin. I completed the project 100% to what I said I was going to do. I ended up bringing in a friend. I paid him to do the cellar floor because I said, to hell with this. I could go somewhere else and make more money. I'll let my friend do it. He did it, did a very nice job. And the customer had no complaints. He couldn't say a word. Job got done. I took my money and I left. So at least I kept my name clean. So that's what you got to do. You got to learn from these things. It's going to happen. Happens to everybody. But in closing, with the bidding and estimating, don't let customers tell you how much it should cost. If they could get Joe Blow from down the street to do it on the site, let them do it. And in closing, I want to share one other story with you. A guy had called me. He wanted to cut a cellar entrance into his existing house. Okay, no problem. I went through everything, gave him the number, never heard from him again. Again, thought nothing of it. I would say 40% of my estimates, the people don't even do the project. But anywho, I was talking to the concrete truck driver months and months later on a separate job. And he was telling me about this nightmare pour that they had. The form broke and all the concrete went into the basement. He goes, oh, it was this guy, and he had said he knew what he was doing. His father was a concrete guy, and blah, blah, blah. He was bragging how great he was. They were wheelbarrowing, 7 or 8 yards in the back with one little homeowner-style wheelbarrow. Of course, whenever you got a big pour, make sure you got one wheelbarrow that's not good enough for the job. And the plywood form he built was not braced. It snapped. And all the concrete ended up going into the existing basement because they had cut the door out. And I said, and it sounded familiar. I said, what was the address? I couldn't remember the address offhand, but I knew if I heard it, I would recall it. He gives me the address. I was like, that was that freaking job. The guy had called me, wanted to know what it was going to cost. Got that number, charged the homeowner. I'm sure charged a little less. This was a contractor that had called me. I'm sorry I didn't specify that in the beginning. And he ended up doing it himself with plywood, not forms. Didn't really brace them. I guess no one understands the pressure of concrete when it's in its liquid form. And it blew out and all the concrete went in the basement. They ended up sending the truck back with a couple of yards, 2-3 yards left because they couldn't fix it. And this happens all the time. So don't let it bum you out. If you know what the cost is, you know what you need to make, that's what you charge. Don't undercut yourself and make it that you make no money. There are times when you undercut yourself, it will be better to just stay home. So guys, I hope this video has helped you out. I hope these experiences will help some of you younger guys out for the future. And please enjoy and be safe. Have a very happy 4th of July holiday. Until next time, be safe, take care, and I will talk to you guys